Forecast, and things are starting to heat up after what was okay morning. We had a little bit of fog, some cloud cover, but a lot of sun headed our way this afternoon. Drought monitor came in a little earlier. It shows what we already know, and that is that drought conditions continue to worsen. Now again, we have extreme drought for a large portion of our area, including San Antonio and some of our eastern counties as well. Forecast for today is rain-free. A few clouds this morning and then sunny this afternoon, up to 84. That is well above average, and we're going to
KSAT 12. The news at noon starts right now.
The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is officially over.
Well, President Donald Trump signed the short-term spending bill into law last night, funding the government until the end of January.
ABC's Christiane Cordero reports even as hundreds of thousands of federal employees are called back to work, the ripple effects of the shutdown drag on.
After 43 days without work and without pay, today more than 670,000 federal employees are headed back to work. The Department of Health and Human Services is among those notifying furloughed workers to report for duty today. The short-term spending bill cleared both the House and Senate, though one major sticking point remains. Democrats wanted to extend health care tax credits set to expire at the end of the year. That didn't happen.
It's a betrayal of working people who are seeing their health insurance premiums rise double and triple.
When signing the bill into law last night, President Trump again pushed for money to be sent directly to Americans' pockets, though he has so far offered no details on how that would work.
I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care.
Members of Congress continued to get paid through the shutdown. Furloughed federal employees are guaranteed back pay, but federal contractors like Willie Jo Price are not. She works in the cafeteria at the Library of Congress. She hasn't been paid since early October.
I have a house, I have bills, I have a car, I have insurance, and which insurance is a killer on its own, and it's just a lot.
The short-term spending bill funds the government through the end of January. Funding for SNAP and the VA extends through September. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
And the bill also came with some extras that you should know about. A whole lot of money, we're talking millions, is being poured into security for extra protection of judges and executive branch officials and U.S. Capitol Police. The WIC program will get an increase of over $600 million, which means eligible families should get full benefits. The military will get money to invest in critical infrastructure, and we will have to see what this would be here at our local bases.
And the story continues online. Texas state and federal lawmakers churned out following the end of the shutdown. We got a roundup on our website, KSAT.com.
Happening today, Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones and District 6 Council member Rick Galvan are inviting residents to a community town hall later this evening. They'll talk about how the city is handling the impacts of the federal shutdown, flood mitigation projects, and other important city updates. The meeting is happening from 6 to 7:30 tonight at John Jay High School on Marbach Road. Well, months after a tragedy along a stretch of Southeast Military Drive, we'll see new action from city leaders. That is happening today. 2 people, including a pregnant woman, were hit and killed within days of each other near Old Corpus Christi Road and South Presa Street. KSAT has stayed on top of this story from the very beginning, and later today we'll get a closer look at new safety improvements on Southeast Military Drive. Bigger lights and a relocated VIA bus stop now all stand where neighbors first pleaded for safety back in August. This afternoon, we're expected to hear from city leaders about the improvements, and our Avery Everett will be there as they activate this new system.
Look out there with a live cam this afternoon, a lot warmer this afternoon than it was yesterday, already at 79 degrees, and we're just basically knocking on the 80s door, Shelby.
Oh, just wait. Probably another hour, guys, and we will be in the 80s for us here in the Alamo City. And if you love the heat, if you didn't really like the cold that we saw earlier in the week, don't worry. I have an amazing forecast that you are going to love, especially because today you can pretty much copy paste the forecast for the next 7 days. We're sitting at about 79 degrees right now in the Alamo City. 84 degrees is going to be our peak temperature this afternoon, and we're going to stay dry. And that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. We're still in the drought, the latest drought monitors in. I'll talk about that coming up later on. But this weekend, it's going to be more of the same. We're still watching some humidity levels being a little higher, especially not only today, tomorrow, but also into the weekend. But we're not really feeling like fall. Our morning temperatures is where we should be a little closer in our afternoon temperatures. We're sitting about 10 degrees above average both Saturday and Sunday. But what we're watching is finally a chance of a little bit of a cool down, but that is going to be over a week away. That heat is going to continue for us here in South Central Texas. Still going to be hot and humid this weekend. But like I mentioned, there's a little bit of hope for some cooler temperatures and some hope for rain. I'll talk about what the drought monitor is and what the rain could do to that coming up later on.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, a squabble between the Bexar County District Attorney's Office and a judge has now become public. So DA officials have criticized Judge Mary Lou Alvarez's decision last month to remove a 4-day-old baby boy from the care of his parents. Now, the move came before Child Protective Services or the District Attorney's Office was involved in the case and prompted a letter from the DA's office accusing Alvarez of potentially causing due process and constitutional rights concerns and possible deprivation of parental rights.
This was a very strange response to a judge asking for someone to come down and make sure this baby's going to be okay, in my opinion.
Well, however, tonight on the news at 6, the red flags on the mother's criminal history that may have forced the judge to act.
Take a good look at the woman on your screen. She is 56-year-old mother Anita Gould, and she is missing. According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, Gould was last seen Monday morning here in San Antonio wearing a black shirt, pink jacket, and multicolored pants. She was also driving a black 2019 Buick Enclave. If you've seen her or know where she is, immediately call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
And we now know the name of a man killed in a road rage shooting. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office identified him as 58-year-old Celerino Gonzalez. Now, the man who SAPD says shot him was 23-year-old David Flores Orivides. He is in jail. Investigators say the two drivers exchanged gunfire off Bel Air Drive near Lock Hill Selma and Northwest Military on Monday morning. Officers found Gonzalez dead inside his car. Orivides' bond is set at $250,000.
A local woman went to the hospital for knee replacement surgery, but she died because of a medical error. Through their grief, her family created a tool for future patients or their loved ones so deadly mistakes don't happen. Myra Arthur has her story.
Was the best mom in the world. Her story was not going to end there that day.
Louise Batts had a successful surgery. Hours later, she stopped breathing.
It was midnight. They told us to go home, and so we did.
Louise's daughter Laura and her family told medical staff to only give her mother morphine.
And it turned out that they gave her the morphine, Demerol, and Visceral at midnight. My mom went into a respiratory depression and suffered an anoxic brain injury. She wasn't on any type of monitoring, so there was nothing ever taking her vitals. They didn't know how long my mom didn't have any oxygen going into her brain.
The Batts family took their mother off of life support 11 days later in 2009.
That night we wrote the mission for Louise H. Batts Patient Safety Foundation because we didn't want this to happen to other families.
In the years since, the foundation has worked to empower patients, families, and healthcare providers to work together as a team. They created these guides that help patients and their advocates navigate their care. They include a long list of tools, including a place to write down all of your medications, a list of questions to ask doctors, and places for notes to fill out before a hospital stay, during, and after a patient goes home.
This can always stay in the room, right? And so if you have different shifts of family coming in, they can just read off.
The foundation has pediatric guides, guides for breast cancer patients, transplant patients, and more. and many are already in hospital rooms around San Antonio, waiting for patients when they arrive.
What do you want your mom's legacy to be?
I feel like every single life we save honors my mom and honors all the people that die from preventable medical error each year.
The National Institutes of Health cites a study that found roughly 200,000 patients die each year from medical errors. You can download the Louise Batts guide from the foundation's website, louisebatts.org. We also have that link on KSAT.com.
Fortunately, the face of lung cancer is changing.
Well, up to 20% of lung cancers each year happen in people who have never smoked or smoked very little, and many of them are younger. What's believed to be behind the rise of this disease in non-smokers.
Free vaccines for pets and a chance to land a new job. That's just a couple of opportunities you have this afternoon. We have details in just a few minutes.
Well, former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg is taking the first step to run for Bexar County Judge. He filed campaign paperwork this week and promised a big announcement this coming Saturday at Backyard on Broadway.
Current Judge Peter Sakai, who's held the job since 2023, is running for re-election, so the race could get interesting. Nirenberg was mayor for 8 years, from 2017 to 2025, and we will keep you posted.
Taking a look outside with live cam, it's a warm day for us here in the Alamo City. Still seeing that cloud coverage, but I do have some good news. Yes, we're still going to get to the 80s, but today for the pollen count, we're only seeing molds today. I know a lot of people in the fall get worried about fall elm or ragweed, but only molds today. And some bad news is the aquifer's down 1/10 of a foot. But if you're going out and about, whether it be today or this weekend to Worst Fest, it's still going to be more of the same. Temperatures staying in the 80s, but what we're watching is a little bit of that fog and more of the near heat in the 80s. I'll talk about the latest drought monitor that was issued today coming up after the break.
Well, here's a chance to get back and represent your team. Every Thursday in November, donate blood with South Texas Blood and Tissue and score a limited edition San Antonio Spurs t-shirt. So it's a win-win. You can show your Spurs pride while helping save lives in our community. So to join, you just schedule your donation online at southtexasblood.org, or you can call 210-731-5590.
And Spay Neuter Network is offering 2 free vaccine clinics for San Antonio pet owners today and tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 210 Tuleta Drive. The first 100 pets each day will receive free vaccines, including rabies and other important shots for dogs and cats. Plus, pets can get a free microchip and low-cost nail trims. Heartworm, flea, and tick preventatives will also be available for purchase. Remember to get there early because space is limited.
And here's an opportunity for veterans who might be looking for a new job. It's an event called Red, White, and Hiring You. And it's happening right now at the Boeing Center at Techport. So this will end at 1 this afternoon. And here's a quick list at the companies looking to hire: Boeing, RBFCU, USAA, Grand Hyatt, San Antonio ISD, and there's also more.
So I know we always say weather roller coaster, but I feel like it's been like a teeter-totter.
Back and
you know what I
forth.
mean?
Yeah.
Really cold in the mornings for a lot in the past couple weeks, and then kind of still warm, but we're going to stick with the warm this time.
We're going to stick with the warm, and then this week we also saw the cold temperatures in the afternoon. Last weekend we saw the rain, so I like the teeter-totter kind of.
It is. It's teetering.
And speaking of the rain, we saw the rain the last few weeks. We still need more, and it's Thursday, so the latest drought monitor is in, and I'll get to that in just a second. But throughout the rest of your afternoon, expect temperatures staying in the 80s, seeing those clear skies. It is still going to be a gorgeous afternoon. 84 degrees is our peak temperature, but once we go throughout the evening and that sun starts to set, it is going to cool off fairly quickly, already in the 70s. And although we're not going to get to the 50s to 60s or the 50s to even the 40s for some of us, we are still expecting 60s tonight. So although it's not going to be as cold, we're still going to see some cooler temperatures start to dip once that sun starts to set. But this is the latest drought monitor that was issued last week. I want to point out a few differences. So last week we did see some improvements from the week before, and really we saw the extreme category and even in Bexar County, but also going all the way from Floresville to LaGrange, Hallettsville. But as I go into this week's, I want to point out a few things, and I'll be going back and forth. So this is this week's drought monitor. The main differences are the moderate category, kind of that tan color, has continued to expand in portions of the hill country. As I zoom in just closer to Uvalde, Crystal City, Carrizo Springs, Eagle Pass last week, it was just the severe, but this week we are now continuing to see that worsen. But just giving you an idea of where we were back in mid-May, we were seeing that widespread exceptional drought being across South Central Texas. So the drought that we are seeing today compared to what we saw just a few months ago, it does still kind of put into your mind that yes, we're still in that drought, but we are seeing significant improvements. Although the rain we've seen have still costed many lives in the hill country and even here in San Antonio, we are still working to see an improvement in the drought monitor. And part of the reason that the drought monitor week to week on days we don't see any rain might improve for some, but not others, is the groundwater is still too low for some. The aquifers are low, the spring flows, the lakes, the reservoirs. So although it might improve for some folks and not others, it could be some changes week to week, even if we don't see any rain because of all these reasonings and even the soil moisture levels as well. But here's a statistic. According to the NCEI, on a 6-month base, we need in San Antonio at least 13 inches over 6 months to really get rid of our drought. Portions of the hill country only need 6, and portions of South Texas only need about 8. But that's over a 6-month period. If you fasten it up a little bit, it could be a little more. And lucky for us, we're seeing some rain chances, but it's next week. And in fact, mid to late next week, even seeing a very low chance of the rain, only about a 30% chance of rain being the most we could even see. So we will continue to keep you posted. The rain chances start Tuesday, and it's all because of a cold front and a low pressure system that hasn't even made landfall yet. I'll talk about that later on, but the rain chances really return Tuesday, Wednesday, and even going into Thursday. But even before then, the humidity levels are going to increase. We're watching that possibility of some morning fog over the next few days and even getting into the weekend. So you might notice at least a little bit of that humidity for us here in South Texas while we stay on the temperature teeter-totter in the mid-80s, guys.
Thousands of pages of new emails have been released as part of the so-called Epstein files. I'm Olivia Rubin with ABC News in New York with the latest coming up on what was in there.
And lung cancer among non-smokers now on the rise. A look at what other factors could lead to a diagnosis and advice from doctors for those at risk. Well, about every 2 minutes in the U.S., someone is diagnosed with lung cancer. That's according to the American Lung Association. And experts say lung cancer among non-smokers is rising. So doctors say that current guidelines recommend screenings for people who are between the ages of 50 and 80 who have a smoking history. However, lung cancer can be caused by several factors, including environmental exposures. So that includes things like radon, asbestos, and air pollution. Genetics can also play a factor. Having a family history or certain gene mutations raises that risk as well. So if you have symptoms that you're worried about, don't hesitate to say something.
As a patient, you know your body better than anybody else, and so you deserve a thorough investigation if you have any symptoms that you're concerned about.
Well, breathing in secondhand smoke also increases your risk.
Now to the Epstein files. Thousands of pages of new records released by Congress. ABC's Olivia Rubin reports this comes as President Donald Trump calls it a distraction, and the White House continues to deny allegations of wrongdoing.
Emails raising fresh questions about Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with President Donald Trump. During Trump's first presidency in December 2018, Epstein writing a message saying, "I am the one able to take him down." Before that, in 2015, Epstein recalling a story about Trump, writing, "Ask my houseman about Donald almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass as young women were swimming in the pool, and he was so focused he walked straight into the door." In a follow-up message, Epstein claiming to have a photograph of, quote, Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen. It's not clear if Epstein possessed such photos. The emails released by Democrats on the Oversight Committee show Epstein, a longtime friend of the president, fielded dozens of emails about Trump over the years. Just days after his 2017 inauguration, Epstein writing, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body." The context of the message is unclear. Trump has denied allegations of wrongdoing and has said he cut off his friendship with Epstein in the 2000s. The White House saying the new emails mean nothing.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
And now Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says the House could vote as soon as next week on releasing the full Epstein files. It comes after a newly sworn-in Democratic Congresswoman gave the final signature needed to a petition to force that vote. The White House, though, had been trying to block it, saying they were working for transparency. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
A major retailer lowering its prices. What products are affected?
1 in 4 U.S. households is living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to get by. That's according to a Bank of America Institute analysis. The bank's researchers combed through internal data on its millions of customers. They tracked how much they spent on necessities like groceries, housing, gas, childcare, and utilities. They found that about a quarter of households spend more than 95% of their income on those necessities, and there is little to nothing left over for extras like going out to dinner, taking a vacation, let alone saving.
Well, with a lot of people trying to cover the basics, stretching your dollar is a valuable skill. You can find savings everywhere, including cleaning products, and sometimes making a simple swap is all it takes. Cleaning the kitchen may not be your favorite job, but Consumer Reports says buying products that actually work can keep you from wasting money on ones that don't.
Buying cleaning products can get so expensive. The key is knowing which products give you the most value for your money.
Consumer Reports product testers make a mess in their labs and sometimes in their own homes to help you find the best choice for your kitchen and your wallet.
A good quality multi-purpose cleaner can help you save time and save money. They're versatile and they help you cut back on the number of products that you have to buy.
Consumer Reports says Mr. Clean's Clean Freak Spray is the best choice for managing mealtime messes like splattered cooking oil or dripping syrup. So on a store brand budget, Walmart's Great Value Cleaner tackles every job but shines brightest when cleaning glass. Testers say that Sprayway's foam glass cleaner actually does double duty as a multi-purpose option for chrome, tile, and porcelain on top of cleaning mirrors and other glass where it dries in a flash. So are paper towels your cleaning tool of choice? For that, Consumer Reports likes Bounty Select A, size for its impressive scrubbing strength.
That way you don't have to waste more paper towels than you need to, and you're saving money.
And to clean with less waste, this scrubby sponge is soft enough to clean wine glasses, but tough enough for more difficult jobs. Method's all-purpose wipes make cleanup quick when relatives are coming over. And while all-purpose wipes can remove gunk, they cannot sanitize your surfaces. For that, Target's store-brand disinfecting wipes are a great budget option. And this dense magic eraser sponge didn't rip or warp no matter what job we threw its way. Finally, to keep your floors squeaky clean, Consumer Reports says Mop & Glow 3-in-1 did a solid job on hardwood, ceramic, and laminate flooring. And it was one of the best for removing scuffs as well. Now stand back and watch your kitchen sparkle. And Consumer Reports says you can save even more by buying products sold as refills, so you can often buy those for less per ounce than the actual spray bottles, and you'll cut back down on plastic waste while saving a few bucks.
Well, Target says it is lowering prices on 3,000 items. Starting this month, prices on certain food, beverage, and essential items at Target will be reduced. That includes price drops on hickory smoked bone-in hams, apples, pie crust, cold medicine, and more. Target also announced the return of its Thanksgiving meal deal. The company says its holiday dinner will cost less than $5 per person. According to Target, its price reductions will continue through December. Spirit Airlines is cutting down on its number of flights to reduce its losses, and it could affect how much you pay for your holiday travel, even if you don't use Spirit Airlines. According to data from aviation analytics firm Serum, There will be nearly 11,000 fewer Spirit flights this holiday season compared to last year. The drop represents a 1/3 reduction in the budget airline schedule, and it's expected to impact overall fares this holiday season. With Spirit flying fewer routes, the carrier won't put nearly as much downward pressure on larger airlines' fares. According to discount air travel site Going.com, U.S. domestic flights are predicted to cost 6% more over Thanksgiving week this year compared to last, and prices are expected to increase 7% during the year-end holiday period.
Looking out there with live cam, we are getting close to the 80s, but it was a nice morning, Shelby.
Oh, it was a beautiful morning, and we're going to continue to see more of the same really for the weather. I wish I had some better news, but what we're watching is a little bit of a change for the weather next week. We just have to get through more of the same for the weather. And today, it is still going to be a beautiful day despite still being in the 80s. 84 degrees is our peak temperature. Still seeing some slight winds out of the south, gusting up to about 15, maybe 20 miles an hour, but we're not expecting the winds that what we saw this last Sunday when we had that cold front come in. That was a reason we saw those stronger winds. But what we're watching is today, not only San Antonio is sitting above average, we're seeing most of the country. And in fact, if you take the country in half and most of the western portion of the country, going all the way up to Billings, Montana, is sitting 20 degrees above average because that cold front and that area of low pressure that brought us the cooler temperatures earlier in the week is finally pushing off into areas of the east coast. But what we're seeing is an area of high pressure just sticking around, giving us above average temperatures for most of us. And despite that, we're really going to stay above average. Our average this time of year is 72 degrees, and we are not getting out of the 80s over the next 5 days. I know a lot of people are excited about that, but something else you can be excited for is the chance of rain. Yes, it's still a week away, but I'll tell you what you need to know and what we're expecting and optimistic about for the rain chances next week coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, now that the government shutdown is over, workers will finally get paychecks again, but this will have some consequences for the Texas hemp industry and shops here in San Antonio. So in the continued spending bill was a move to close a loophole that has allowed THC products to be sold around Texas and other states. So when President Donald Trump signed that bill last night, it officially includes a ban on most THC products. This could hit Texas's hemp industry pretty hard, which just avoided a state ban earlier this year, led by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Well, that move was blocked by Governor Abbott in the regular session. The good news here is that the new rules won't kick in for a year. The bad news, those rules will limit THC in products to 0.4 milligrams per package. So we spoke with the owner of a local business, the Mellow Monkey, about what this means for the store going forward.
This might, I wouldn't say take us out, but it's definitely going to hinder us.
What I've been told and what I've seen, it's going to wipe out 95% of the industry.
Well, Republican Senator Ron Paul of Kentucky led an attempt to remove the language but failed. Texas Republican senators were split on that effort, with Ted Cruz supporting Paul and John Cornyn was against him.
The Trump administration has an idea to make housing more affordable. Portable mortgages. These types of mortgages could let homeowners take their mortgage rate with them when they move. That means you wouldn't have to take out a new loan. The proposal is meant to address the housing market's lack of supply. Just over half of homeowners have mortgage rates below 4%. That's according to a Redfin analysis. Those homeowners with ultra-low mortgage rates have been less willing to move. In part, that's because average mortgage rates for the last few years have been stuck between 6 and 7%. The administration says it's also weighing how to make mortgages assumable and whether to introduce a new 50-year mortgage option.
Well, increasing affordable housing in San Antonio.
That is the goal of one of the city's latest projects. Village at the Loop is a brand new apartment complex on the northeast side. This is near Loop 410 and Perrin Vital. The project started 5 years ago.
So the city says it has been made a priority to provide affordable housing to those who need it.
What's important is that we build up growth and prosperity. They go hand in hand, and affordable housing is a necessary part in making sure we have the infrastructure for our community.
Well, the city's Neighboring and Housing Services Department has resources online for anyone in San Antonio looking to find affordable housing.
When you see VIA buses on our roadways, the operators make it look easy, but I'm taking a test to show you it's a lot harder than you think.
I'm so sorry. The awareness that they're bringing to our city drivers coming up.
Well, now the holiday sales dropping earlier than ever. This new we have advice for shoppers. Should you grab these early Black Friday deals more than 2 weeks before the big day, or should you wait?
More children are now dealing with high blood pressure, what doctors say is fueling this trend.
Well, across the globe, high blood pressure in children has nearly doubled over the past 2 decades.
A new study found that back in 2000, rates of hypertension in boys and girls hovered around 3%. But by 2020, those numbers had risen to about 6%. Doctors say children with hypertension are at a greater risk of developing heart disease later in life.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the U.S., and experts say that dietary factors in children, such as consuming high levels of sodium and ultra-processed food, can contribute to their hypertension risk, along with a sedentary lifestyle.
And although we're tracking an increase in humidity this week because of the fall, we're also seeing the humidity increase next week because of the rain chances. I'll talk about all the factors that are giving us a little bit of some optimism coming up after the break.
Oh, Lord, I'm about to hit it, Jesus. You all saw that I was literally on the struggle bus training for VIA's annual rodeo competition. And yes, it was fun and games, but I genuinely grew a greater appreciation for the service and safety bus operators take seriously while getting our community from point A to point B. Here's how competition day went.
We have a family atmosphere gathering together to come celebrate safety and innovation.
What is your favorite thing about operating one of these big buses?
My favorite thing in general would just meet the people that I get to see on a day-to-day basis.
We show up every day to make sure that we're being great public servants.
It's actually safer on a bus than it is in your car. That's a testament of the driving skills that our operators have.
What is the most annoying thing that you have to encounter when you are operating on the bus?
Traffic, construction, detours.
These are lives, you know, that we are getting to where they have to go. So we continue to keep SA moving. We're trying to do it in a safe way and making sure we can drop our precious cargo off to where they have to go.
Stop cutting us off, you know. We're trying to operate, we're driving your families around, we're trying to be careful, and we're just trying to avoid accidents on a day-to-day basis.
Do you have any advice for me?
Yeah, don't be nervous, don't let the nerves get to you, relax and just have fun.
I can tell you, after some great competition, I was able to walk away with this participation t-shirt and second place, all thanks to an awesome trainer by the name of Carmen. And because of her, we all were able to walk away with some kind of hardware. But I also want to give credit to my friend Joy here and the full VIA team who gave me such a warm welcome. The biggest takeaway here, though, if you're a driver or a passenger, show some appreciation, love, and respect to our bus operators with VIA as they serve our community. And if you're interested in becoming a bus operator for VIA, just search VIA Rodeo at KSAT.com.
Congratulations.
Yay! That looked hard. I'm glad I wasn't the one doing it.
I know, me too. And then there's another piece on our website, KSAT.com, where she's first getting into it. This is the second round.
Oh.
So maybe a lot of that judging had to do with how much she improved when she first got behind the wheel.
I see. Okay.
She was way more calm than I would ever be. Just saying.
I know. We really appreciate the bus drivers out there.
Yes.
We also appreciate that there is some optimism in the forecast because it's November. It's not supposed to be 80s every single day.
Oh, gosh, no. We should be sitting in the 70s, and today is definitely not one of those days. We're still sitting in the 70s right now, 79 degrees, but in just the next few hours, our peak temperature is expected to get to about 84, still staying well above average, like I mentioned earlier, about 10 degrees above average for us in San Antonio. But in fact, we're watching most of the country being above average. And that's because we have an area of high pressure just sitting in areas of the southern portion of the country, giving most of the country going from eastern Montana all the way down to Texas and even getting into areas of Arkansas, Missouri, even Illinois, the best chance for temperatures to sit not only 10 degrees above average, but what we're watching is some areas could even see 20 to 30 degrees above normal and above their average temperatures. And most of us, especially in the northern portion of the country, should be sitting in the 30s and the 40s, seeing their first snowfall. Now for us, we should be in the 70s, and we should also be seeing some rain. We're still in that drought. And there is still some optimism and some hope. I know I said the H word. We're still watching and holding on to some hope, especially because take a look at the precipitation outlook from the 18th through the 22nd. I want to highlight a few things. What we're watching is an area of low pressure. I'll show you in just a second, making its way to California over the next few days. And that's going to give them and even the desert Southwest a chance for some heavy rainfall. But for us, it's going to give us a chance of a little optimism for any sort of rain next week. But it keeps pushing later and later. We have the area of high pressure sitting under us in Texas, but that low pressure system's just off of the Pacific Northwest. And in fact, it was up in the Bay of Alaska just yesterday alone. And that low pressure system is what we're watching tonight and into tomorrow to get closer to Southern California, giving them some heavy rain and even having that potential for some snow in the higher elevations and even some localized flooding if you're headed out there. But that low pressure system is going to go just to the northern portion of the country, giving a chance of snow for some folks. But for us, what we're watching is a weak cool front is going to move through, and that's going to really kickstart that chance for some rain. Now, it's not going to be widespread, or it might be, but it's still a week away, and things are changing day to day. Originally, this last weekend, the rain was supposed to come on Sunday to even Monday. So the rain is expected between about Tuesday to Thursday, and you can really see that here on the 7-day forecast as rain chances start Tuesday as that cool front moves through and continue by about Wednesday, and even still a 30% chance of rain on Thursday for us in the Alamo City. So some humidity this weekend with the fog, and still more humidity, guys, next week because hopefully some rain chances.
We will cross our fingers. All right, thanks, Shelby. Well, stores are rolling out holiday deals, hoping to lure in shoppers early. But should you take the bait or hold out for a better sale? Looks like we're dressed for the holidays, so we might as well talk about them, right? Holiday sales start early and earlier every single year. We're already seeing it. Some stores starting Black Friday deals this week.
So should you jump on the price drops or should you hold out a little bit longer? ABC's Laura Spencer takes a look.
With just 42 days to go until Christmas,
I think I'm gonna buy it. Do you accept cash?
Big savings are rolling out for shoppers who are making their lists and checking them twice.
It's a holiday shopping day and I am so excited.
Like me, you've already started your Christmas list? And major retailers are now offering early Black Friday savings to help deck those halls and put presents underneath the tree.
A lot of retailers have basically turned all of November into a pre-Christmas, pre-holiday sales season.
Amazon promoting 12 days of deals from November 20th through December 1st, where shoppers can save in 35 different categories, from electronics to toys to vacuums.
Every who and who Newville liked Christmas a lot. But without help from Walmart, stress-free it was not.
Walmart promising a month-long series of deals starting this Friday, with discounts on brands like Apple, Levi's, and Lego.
I have already started my list.
And for Target, Black Friday sales have already begun this week. Shoppers can save $70 on an Instapot, $100 on Beats headphones, and $330 off the price of a Dyson. With deals popping up so early, many savvy shoppers are wondering if they should buy now or hold out for the actual savings holidays.
The length of the holiday season has at least doubled in the last several years, thanks to all these early deals. So I think it's really hard to find a deal on Black Friday or Cyber Monday that is genuinely unique or that you can't buy earlier or later than that specific weekend.